The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Philippines sees another big jump in COVID-19 survivors. Just today, the Health Department reported over 11,600 new recoveries, pushing the total to above 487,000. The country's caseload, meanwhile, has climbed to over 525,000, with more than 2,000 new infections reported today. Now, as for deaths, the virus killed 80 more patients in the past 24 hours, bringing the toll to more than 10,700. First on One News, the Health Department says they have identified 12 returning overseas Filipino workers who may be the source of the transmission of the B.1.1.7 variant in the country. Speaking to us this afternoon, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said the 12 OFWs arrived in the country and went to the provinces during the holiday season. Vergeres noted that the agency is already trying to coordinate with them for contact tracing and COVID-19 testing.
We have identified 12 returning overseas Filipinos who went to the province during this holiday season and early part of January. So we are still trying to coordinate with them, trying to trace them, and also to get their details, and eventually we will be testing all of them.
Vergeres also stressed the importance of observing the required 14-day quarantine period, especially among foreign travelers who will be allowed entry in the country. The travel restrictions over the countries with recorded cases of the new variant will be lifted tomorrow.
We need to do our border controls that we may be able to complete the quarantine period of all of those travelers coming in the country. We cannot remain to be in lockdown forever.
And we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The country logged yet another 2,000 new infections today. Can we expect this surge to take or tame anytime soon? And to give us answers, we have with us Professor Guido David of the UP-OCTA Research Group. Sir, can you give us a general outlook for the COVID-19 situation in the country?
Yes, hi Risa. Good evening. Yes, right now the trend is stable in Metro Manila and many other parts of the Philippines. What we mean by stable is it's not decreasing, or it may be decreasing a little bit, but it's not also increasing. So the number of cases that we're having day to day, the number of new cases, is more or less consistent. Now, sometimes we may get more than 2,000, sometimes we're getting less than 2,000, but on average, we're getting approximately 2,000 cases per day. And that's not necessarily bad news. The COVID is not going away, but at the same time, we're managing it well, especially that we're balancing it with the economy. And as long as our hospitals are not overwhelmed, we should be okay. But of course, this is for most of the country, and the reproduction numbers one actually, and even the northern provinces have seen a slight, or either a decrease or a slowing down of cases. The concerning area that we have right now is Cebu City and Mandaue, and to a lesser extent, Pasig in Iloilo, because we're seeing a continuous increase of cases in those areas.
Sir Guido, Metro Manila and Davao City are currently under GCQ, but some MGCQ areas like Cebu are still reportedly seeing a surge. Again, what's your reaction on this?
Well, the government has its own metrics on which areas to put under a more strict lockdown, and we're not about to debate those criteria because it's the government's own criteria. They have criteria based on economic factors and pandemic potential. So we do agree that right now the attack rate in Cebu City is still manageable, and their hospital occupancy is still low, about 35% in Cebu City. What we are just concerned about is the trend that it's been increasing since December. So we're not sure if this is due to the holiday effect in Cebu City and Mandaue, or if there's another factor that's affecting the increase in cases. But we are concerned about the increase, the rapid increase in new cases. And Cebu City is averaging about 78 new cases per day. And that's already a lot. I mean, that's more than Manila is averaging per day. That's almost as high as what Quezon City is averaging per day. And Quezon City is a much bigger city compared to Cebu City.
Sir, what should we expect in the coming weeks? Do you see the daily increase in cases slowing down anytime soon?
No, we're not seeing that kind of pattern that it's going to be going down. It may go down slightly, it may go up a little slightly, but the overall pattern is that it's going to stay at around the same level. And like I said, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So especially since the vaccine is around the corner, we're expecting it to roll out, start rolling out maybe this month or next month, and that will be a big deal because that will help us manage the pandemic. So we don't really have to, reduce the number of cases to zero. We're just essentially waiting for the vaccine, and we're trying to prevent an outbreak from happening before the vaccine arrives.
Sir, how about new updates regarding this UK variant? Do we have any, and do we still have no basis to declare community transmission?
We did see community transmission, I believe, in the northern provinces in Mountain Province, and they were able to detect the variant there. My understanding is they're in the process of sequencing samples from Cebu City and Cebu Province to see if they have the variant there. I believe they're going to have the results by tomorrow, so we will know more about these patterns once we know if they have the variant or not.
Sir, we only have 2 more weeks before the expected arrival of the first batch of Pfizer vaccines. And as earlier stated, the country needs to vaccinate a significant number of people first before we can see a drop in cases. When do you see this happening based on our vaccination program timeline?
Well, there's a timeline, but there's the actual rollout. So I'm not involved with the vaccine distribution program. One of my colleagues is, and I haven't consulted with them regarding the rollout timeline, how fast it's going to be. So that will, of course, affect the numbers. If the rollout is very fast, the cases will drop very quickly. But if the rollout is slow, we can expect that we'll have more or less the same situation that we have now. Maybe with a few cases, but it could be this way for a few more months if the rollout is slow. But we're hoping they'll be rolling out, within the first month, a significant number of vaccines to help us fight the pandemic.
Well, thank you, sir, for your time. That was Professor Guido David from the UP Octa Research. And here are other stories shaping up from around the world. Several U.S. stadiums are now being used as mass vaccination sites as the country looks to step up its vaccine distribution. In Charlotte, North Carolina, the Bank of America Stadium is being used to vaccinate its target of 19,000 people. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said the country has administered over 27 million doses of vaccines. U.S. President Joe Biden has set forth a goal of vaccinating 100 million people in the United States in 100 days with hopes of exceeding that number. Now, over in Germany, authorities have implemented a ban on travelers coming from several countries detected with the new variants, such as the United Kingdom, Brazil, and South Africa. Police are checking incoming travelers to ensure they are exempt from the ban and have all the required documentation, including a negative COVID test result. And a World Health Organization-led team visited the Baisha Zoo market in Wuhan, China to trace the origins of COVID-19. Today is the third day of the field visits for the team, which is also planning to visit labs, more markets, and hospitals during their 2 weeks in Wuhan. The WHO-led probe has been plagued by delays amid concerns over access and terms of visit. Team members would only be limited to visits organized by their Chinese hosts. Now, for more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.